Everybody, appreciate you all coming to the informational session for the Meta Layer Infrastructure SIG. I am David Benjamin. I'm the facilitator, and my co-facilitator is here as well. Her name is Michelle Tho. We are really excited because we've started this initiative and already had about 25 people say that they're interested in getting on board. Today, we're going to talk about the SIG, but first, we're going to start up with the problem. We'll then go into what a meta layer is. At that point, we're going to have a a breakout, and we'll talk about what excites us in groups of three about the meta layer or a meta layer. And then we're going to talk a bit more about the SIG and how you can get involved. During the presentation at several different times, we will take some questions, but it would be great if you could put the questions in the chat as you have them so that when we open it up for questions, we already have some right there and ready. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Michelle to move us forward with the next slide.
All right, thank you so much, David. I'm Michelle Do. I'm the vice facilitator for the SIG, and I'll be taking you through the problem. Okay, let's start with the problem. The internet was supposed to make us smarter and more connected, but instead, many of us experience frustration. So think about the last time you got locked out of your data, or when your friend was tricked by a fake account. Those aren't just isolated issue, and they reveal a deeper and systematic problem. Let's not even go far. Okay, based on my personal experience, and I'm 1,000% sure many of you have seen this too. Say when you go ahead and search for a product to buy from online stores, say like Shein or Jumia, be rest assured you'll keep on getting the same notifications and ads, and that's just the tip of the iceberg of how fragmented the web is. So we live in a fragmented web where each platform is its own silo or operates independently. Our identities are scattered across different logins, and instead of fostering knowledge, the system pushes addictive feeds and misinformation. The design is geared towards profit and attention, and not towards wisdom or collaboration. Yeah, next slide. So now why does this matter? Because the web we have today doesn't just waste our time, it undermines trust in society. The information online often lacks context, so we don't know what's true or what to actually believe. We only see one perspective at a time. Generally, social media rewards speed and emotion, while accuracy and understanding gets lost. And behind it all, algorithms decide what we see, not based on what's good for us, but on what makes the most money for these companies. So this is not only a tech problem, but it's also a governance challenge that affects democracy, economies, and even how communities engage with truth. Yeah. Does anyone have any question until that point?
Well, guess it looks like we don't have any questions at the moment, so I will take over. Well, what is a meta layer? That's the big question, right? A meta layer in our mind is a new civic layer that we can put on top of the web. Or to be frank, the meta layer space already exists, but what we want to do is create a new layer that allows for many of the problems that Michelle just spoke of to be dealt with in a really powerful way to bring in trust, privacy, data sovereignty, a number of different things that we can do differently. And the way that we like to think about it is a cake. So imagine you're in the 1800s in Europe. If you had went into a cake store and said, I'd like a cake, they would offer you many different types of cake, but they would all be one layer. And if you said, I'd like a multi-layer wedding cake, they'd look at you crazy because they say, well, what are you talking about? This is a cake. It's one layer. That's how we think about the web today. This content layer, that, for the most part, that's what we think it is. Now, it isn't totally that because there already is the ability to put notes on web pages with applications like Hypothesis and Digo. And there's browser extensions that do similar things. There's also Web3 wallets, which right now you can use them on specific distributed applications. But with the meta web, not only do you have annotation, notes, and Web3 wallets, but those Web3 wallets can be over the entire web, accessible from any page and useful from any page. Also, the meta web brings computation above the web page, which means that people, information, and interactions can all have a presence above the web page. So this is what we consider the meta web. And right now, it's a decentralized public space. We are interested in creating a specific layer. We're talking about moving from building silos, more silos, new, bigger platforms to building layers. And we want to build a layer that enables trust, privacy, data sovereignty, free speech, etc. So let's move on. Next slide. When you talk about adding a layer, of course, there's many, many new primitives that become available. And I just want to talk about one right now. And if you want to find out more about the other primitives that become available, then you can go to themetalayer.org and look at the use cases. Now, bridges, the one that we're talking about today is near and dear to my heart because that's where this whole meta layer conversation started. Bridges were conceived as a solution to break down silos, to essentially connect pieces of information on different websites. And the way that we are seeing them now is a bridge is a conceptual link between a piece of content on one page to a piece of content on another page with a relationship. So you can imagine on this chart that you might have a bridge between a piece of content on let's say a sentence on a news article to a segment of a video that has the person in that particular segment saying something that contradicts what was written in that article. And we would call that a contradicting bridge. You could have contradicting, supporting, citing, and many other relationships. Whatever relationships people find value could be used to create bridges. And these bridges, as you can imagine, they're bi-directional. They also are attention driven. And actually the whole notion of the meta layer is attention driven because we're talking about layering a lot of information on top of web pages over years, decades, forever, right? A website, what we're talking about with the meta layer, the website, it is no longer just a web page. It's actually the contextual footprint for worlds of information, interactions, people, and transactions and experiences that can be connected to specific content on web pages. So a web page just stacks up with information, but how do you do that without it driving us crazy? We already have too much information overload, right? Well, you got to do it attention triggered. So what that's about is you move your attention to something and on the web that has information in the meta layer, and it will then highlight, and as you get to it, a badge will pop up with a number in it. That number is the number of additional pieces of information that relate directly to what you're looking at. And it could be multiple bridges, it could be notes, comments, conversations, polls, whatever smart tags that people choose to build. We're not giving the full set of smart tags. We're starting out with a small set of 7 and building the capability of meta layer substrate that will allow anyone to create whatever smart tags that they want. And that's how we create the Internet of Ideas, which becomes a safer, smarter internet. One that allows us to have verified identities, to have social spaces above every web page where you can meet, interact, and collaborate, having your own personal AI, owning your data, having rights that we have in real life in some countries, like privacy, free speech, online safety, etc., but everybody having those within this layer. This model aligns with the global digital rights goals and could inform future governance frameworks for online trust and safety. Are there any questions at this point?
Yeah, we do have a question from Bob in the chat. He asks, what if we can't rely on our governments though, given it's a governance issue?
Well, the meta layer will not be controlled by the government. You, individuals or groups, can come together in self-governed meta communities. So that's another one of the inner the meta layer primitives that I was speaking of. And meta layers are portable communities that go with you wherever you go on the web. They have a specific purpose that everyone who joins subscribes to, and that's where the governance lays. It's not with the country. Now, countries could create their own meta layer within this meta layer framework, but the one that we're talking about would not be controlled by a specific country. Are there any
Yeah,
more?
um, I don't think so. There's any other question as of
Okay.
now.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. We'll move on. Is this you or me? I can't remember. Oh, this is you, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So why does the meta layer matter? So imagine an internet where your child can be safe online, where misinformation doesn't divide communities, and where your contributions actually make a difference. So that's the promise here. With the meta layer, scams get flagged, fake accounts disappear, and misinformation is caught early. And instead of rewarding clicks, people are awarded for truth and collaboration. And it also protects us from algorithmic manipulation by ensuring full context is always available. And importantly, it helps communities build collective intelligence where knowledge is co-created rather than controlled. Yeah.
So it goes without saying almost, this is an entirely new vision for how we can internet. If you wanted to know what an internet for the people as opposed to platforms would look like, this is what it looks like. This can enable us to have empowered communities that are portable and move with us over the web. And it allows the possibility of dissolving language barriers through collaboration between users with AI. And we see this as really the beginning potentially of a new era where where we have an internet that actually supports human growth and wisdom. Are there any questions before we go into this next slide? Michelle, are there any questions?
Sorry. We do have another question from Bob. He asks, like, what form would the meta layer take if we can't trust government to make it and host it?
Well, it'll be the form that we collectively um, make it because we're actually in the process of defining it now together. And this is not my meta layer or Michelle's meta layer. This is the meta layer that is going to emerge from all the people who come together to collectively build it. And one of the primary entities that will have a very strong role in this will be the Meta Layer Infrastructure SIG. And that's what Michelle is going to talk about right now.
No, I guess we should first head over to the breakout rooms, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, yeah, you're totally right. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for the moment. Thank you. So we're going to go into breakout rooms. There's going to be three people per breakout room. And what we're looking for is for you all to have a conversation, take a couple minutes to say what excites you about the meta layer. In fact, let's actually, since there's not so many people, let's go ahead and make two people per breakout room, and you'll just have a couple minutes to talk about it. And then we'll let you know. We'll come back in about 7 minutes and choose one of the two people to actually no, we're gonna excuse me. We will we're gonna make three. There's gonna be three participants per room. That's gonna be better. And then just choose one of the three people to report back afterwards. So once again, the question is, what excites you about the meta layer?
Hey, David,
Hey, good to see you.
as well. Have we got one more joining us? Somebody should be.
There should be. Yeah,
They might not
absolutely.
have seen the click and join thing.
Oh, it looks like that person must have dropped off. So
Yeah. Well,
we can.
I'm really excited by this. I think, the question is there's multiple layers. One is, the security layer. I mean, that's just the most obvious, right? Because it's, you know, you're literally sometimes one click away, right, from stuff, depending on how things are. But the larger layer is the democratic support layer because every every information technology has had profound changes in our governance processes and has disrupted the prior process and with which always gives opportunity to the malign. Ah, okay. Here we go.
Yeah. What you want to kind of
Yeah, and
repeat
just
what
to
you're saying?
finish the thought, the malign tend to be the first to exploit the space that a new technology creates, and then the rest of us kind of then catch up eventually and develop new forms of adaptation and governance and everything to kind of bring things back into balance, right? Um, and sometimes it's just straight criminal, and sometimes it's, political entrepreneurs and stuff like that, that have problems. And so the meta layer strikes me as a critical component in bringing things back into balance between the mass of us who just want to get on with their lives and controlling the relatively small number of folks who are malign, but they can make a lot of chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Gene Jr. has joined us. or John Jr.?
Hi, are you hearing me?
Hi. Yeah,
Yep.
we can hear you. What excites you about this notion of about a meta layer?
So I have to say that at first I wasn't very aware about the project. So I think it's 1 week or 2 weeks ago that I saw it on SIG website, and I done some search about it. And I think that the purpose of the project in which we can add more security and make the environment more secure can really help us, because right now there is so many false information, and it's quite confusing to be aware of what to trust and what to be more method about.
Yeah, but that's really a big deal. That's a big deal for me as well. This whole notion of being able to trust things. And when I first was thinking about this, I had been talking to a bunch of people and they kept on telling me these were experts in a bunch of different fields like energy, water, et cetera. And they kept on telling me that all the information is out there, but we just don't have the collective will to do what's needed. And I realized,
Yes.
wow, well, maybe Google didn't do as good a job as they thought they had about organizing all the information in the world, right?
Yeah.
They told us they had done it. Like, go away, just use our search engine. But
Yep.
yeah, and started thinking about, well, how could we reorganize the information? How can we, get out of these silos? I said, oh, well, let's connect the silos, right? Let's create these bridges between pieces of information. And that's what really got me excited at the beginning, because I was just imagining being able to go to a piece of information on the web and seeing all the context that's related to it. That just I can't even
Yeah.
imagine because we're so far away from that at this moment.
David, I can't remember. Are you connected to Jack Park?
Yeah, I mean, we're friends. We know each
Oh, okay.
other,
All
and
right. All
I
right. Good.
appreciate
Good.
his work for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Because it's just very, very much in this. I just had lunch with him yesterday because we're on the same little corner of Southwest California, and the whole issue of guilds and the whole concept of guilds and forming social structures that can curate information and develop understanding, which is an alignment between a social meta layer and a technical meta layer, right? And I think that is fundamentally this realignment between us as people who have other things in life but want to do what we can to create a decent, just society, and the problem of today, right? It's you don't have to, you can do your part at a relatively reasonable level of effort and help address this massive structural problem, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Jack's notion of guilds is right on target. What he got it from World of Warcraft, right? I think that's so cool.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It and that aligns really well with what we are calling meta communities.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it may, I don't know, yeah, the meta communities, they're as big and as small as you want them to be. So I
Right.
expect there could
Right.
be builds and they'd be networked as well. So
Oh
you
yeah,
could be,
exactly.
yeah,
No,
exactly.
just like, as a Wikipedia is kind of the structure, right? Or
Right.
the exemplar, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Junior, what do you think? I mean, wait, should I call you Junior or John Junior or John?
I prefer Jean Junior.
John
It's in
Junior.
French.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think? Close us
I
up.
think, yeah. First, I would like to talk about the what Dana said, like to have a more open meta layer and a more technical one. I think that's for the more open one. It will be like the community notes on X. Is that what you are talking about? So
Well,
that every user can uh, help and improve the fiability. Is that how you say it?
yeah,
I don't really know.
Well, yeah, I think you're definitely onto something. It's this notion that everybody can participate, that what they know, what they understand, and they can layer information on top of the web pages, whether it's in the context of a node, a conversation, a poll. Um, yeah, I'm kind of agnostic about how it is, and I'd love to see people come up with totally new constructs. Like maybe there's a
Yeah,
debate tag, maybe there's a ask me anything tag, there's a
yeah.
game tag. I don't know, but yeah, everybody participating in the way that they know best is what I would love. Which one of you would be willing to report back?
I'd like to let Dana do it, or
Just
is
to
that okay for
report
you?
back on our conversation.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Here we go. We're gonna go back
Okay.
now.
Okay.
So Dana, how long have you been involved with PCI?
Oh, peripherally just for a year or two. Um, we had helped out, the company that I work for had helped out about with PCI doing a video for them. The initial video that they did, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago or something like that. Just when oh God, I've gone blank. Yasha, I've gone blank on his last name when Yasha came in.
Yasha Stein.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And uh, uh, we were did a video, and I talked with him a good bit, and I just been kind of peripherally involved because I'm a sociologist, so it's not my main thing, but it's a fascinating, compelling stuff, and it ties very much to my focus on democratization processes, social change processes, stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been involved with PCI for about the same amount of time, actually, and maybe lurking for a little bit longer, but I've
Yeah.
been getting active in the last hour, last year or so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. How about we get a report back from our different groups? Group one, can someone speak for group one? Oh, actually, group two. Group one, I think, dissipated, but group two?
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Maxwell.
Hey, Maxwell.
Yes. So as far as Group 2 is much concerned, we were able to discuss something. So what collectively as Group 2, so these are some of the things that excites us as Meta Layer is much concerned. So one is that we were able to come up and to say that it enables what we call trusted digital identity. So it has created that digital identity. So it means that people and systems can authenticate and interact securely. So it means that people are safe with their information and everything that they share through the internet. Another one, it has been in a position to improve the interoperability, whereby it's a very good platform that allows uh, uh, people to network and work seamlessly together, and that is quite evident. And another good, amazing part of Meta Layer is that it has introduced what we call the strong verification and preference tools, which has created uh, combat the misinformations and build what we call confidence, yeah, in online content. Yeah, because sometimes you've seen uh, fake news going around and everything, which are sometimes unverified. Yeah. Yeah. So it has also encouraged what we call inclusive governance, which we have been able to discuss from the previous few slides. And you have seen that it gives stakeholders what we call a voice in how the internet evolves. Yeah? So sometimes you find that some of them, they don't know how sometimes how things are evolving within the internet. But through the meta layer, they are able to understand what is moving on. And then also it has it's about what's called decentralization. Yeah, so it tries to make the internet more resilient and less dependent on what we call a centralized provider. And also amazing thing is that Bob talked about it, is that he was able to create a web, and he tries to make it an open source whereby other people can be able to benefit from his innovative work. So it's a very good space for people to innovate and collaborate. Yeah? So it's a collaborative, innovative, where we can share standards, allowing what we call a faster development, yeah? Of new applications and services. Yeah. So that's what we have from Group 2.
Wow, Group 2 had a very rich conversation, I can see. Let's have someone from Group 3.
That's me. And John Jr., if I don't represent your comments, please sound off. But I was just listening as I was thinking as I was listening to Maxwell that it was very interesting. We had a less technical discussion. It's not surprising. I'm a sociologist. I'm not a coder or anything. I know nothing of this stuff. But it intersected in very interesting ways with what Maxwell summarized there, because I was thinking more, and I think John Jr. as well, on the kind of the larger social consequences in terms of security, um, trust and information, but also the way in which the meta layer uh, can potentially, although I didn't quite say it, shift power in interesting ways, in that when new information technologies come in, they disrupt not just the flow of information, but they disrupt social orders. And the malign tend to be a little faster at taking advantage of that than the average, right? Because they go, I can rip somebody off, I can gain political power if I exploit this and everything like that. And historically, over time, the average, the mass have kind of found ways of bringing things back into balance. And the introductory discussion kind of showed all the consequences of the malign exploiting the disruptive effects of the current information technologies. The meta layer is potentially a way to help us bring things back into balance. And that is really exciting to me. And I think that also the security of information and security issues captured what Jean Jr. was saying, I think, but I'd leave it to him if he had any other comments. You're muted.
Yeah, I guess I need to unmute. Okay, well, I wanted to thank you both for reporting back, and thank you all for having such a rich conversation. Really great insights. I'm going to invite Michelle back to talk about the SIG.
All right. So now how do we make the vision real? So now that's where the Meta Layer Infrastructure SIG comes in. This is a proposed intergenerational community within the internet society, and a space to explore and advance these ideas. So people from all walks of life are welcome, even young people, where we'd love to ensure at least 3 board members are below 25. So you don't have to have much knowledge about the Meta Layer. All you just have to care and also be interested as well. So our goals are threefold. The first one is to create awareness about the Meta Layer vision, connect technologists, policymakers, and communities for collaboration, and work on standards for trust, identity, and interoperability. And above all, we want to make sure communities and not just corporations have a voice in shaping the future of the web. And to do this, we organize around 6 focus areas, and these working groups ensure the meta layer remains open, trustworthy, and human-centered. And for example, one group looks at authentication and agency, making sure people have verified and accountable identities. The other one, we have the sovereignty and privacy. So users truly own their data. And we also focus on interoperability and experience, ensuring tools and systems work easily across platforms. Then there is AI governance and safety, which is about making AI ethical and transparent. And we also need the security and trust to build reliability. And finally, the community participation, because the system has to be shaped by its users and not imposed on them. And together, these areas align with global goals like digital rights, data sovereignty, and responsible AI, thus grounding the Meta Layer in both innovation and ethics. Yeah. You're on mute.
I'm on mute again. I wanted to jump in here and just say that we are looking for people who want to work on these in these areas, these working groups, and you can be a leader, you can be a member. You don't have to know everything about the subject to weigh in as a member of a working group. So keep that in mind. Think about where you might want to fit in. And I also want to bring forward one of the main initiatives or projects of the SIG, that is the Meta Layer initiative. It's actually an ongoing interest. It's been a project since September 2024. And the Meta Layer initiative is not a nonprofit entity that is focusing on 3 goals. One is to do a continuous call for input on the desirable properties of a meta layer. We've done 2 rounds already. We've had over 50 people contribute, over 150 ideas, I believe. We want to make this continuous because this meta layer thing, this will evolve over time. Right now, we're going to start out and call out or define what we believe are the desirable properties of a meta layer as we understand them now, but that's going to change over time. So we need to be able to have a way for people to continue giving input over time. The initial attempts at this were completely manual, but we're in the process of making it completely automated at the moment. So the second goal is to publish an essay on the desirable properties of a meta layer. This was actually a challenge to us from Vint Cerf, who is a father of the internet. On September 16th, 2024, when we did our kickoff meeting, he said, one of the most important things that you need to do now is to publish an essay on the desirable properties of a meta layer. This call for input, this is, part of that. It's been giving us a very rich amount of information and perspectives. And then we're going to pull that together as working groups and drill into the specific desirable properties, turn it into an essay. And then later, goal number 3, we're going to take the information from the essay as it is and build the requirements for a meta layer substrate. So this meta layer substrate is a substrate. It's a piece. It's a software environment that enables anyone to create applications that operate in the space above the web page. So it would allow people to create what we call overlay applications and smart tags and meta communities. This meta layer initiative, as I said, is ongoing, and we see the SIG becoming the governing body of this project. So, are there any questions?
I don't
Michelle?
think we have any questions at the moment.
Okay. What are the benefits? Why should you even want to do this? Well, I mean, I think you all know that partially. This is how we can come together and shape the future of digital governance. This is a way for you to learn about cutting edge internet infrastructure. You can connect with people from all over the world who care about these things in discussions, working groups, work on projects, gain access, early access to all our initiatives and pilots. And you can help build standards and tools. Beyond that, there's one other thing that I want to mention, and that is you'll get credentials. And the first credential that's available right now is the Founding Wave badge. So let me just show you what that looks like. And these are pretty cool, these badges, because they're on Ordinals, which is a new platform that came about 2 years ago. It's actually built on top of Bitcoin, but it's an information layer on top of Bitcoin. It has nothing to do with the cryptocurrency aspect of Bitcoin. This Founding Wave badge, I believe this might be Dana's. I'm not totally sure. I gave out 4 the other day because 4 people have given me their wallets, their Ordinals wallet. But this is permanent, immutable, and it can be held in a wallet and forever accessible with this URL. This number right here. This defines it. This is its unique ID, and this is, well, as long as Bitcoin is around, this badge system will be available. We're going to have a whole bunch of different badges, but I really encourage you all to get an Ordinals wallet. Unisat and Xverse are the 2. We can put those in the chat in a bit. But yeah, I'll actually go ahead and put the link here so you all can, just if you want to click through and see it yourself. So here it is. That's another one of our the benefits, and I'm going to go back to our presentation. Let's see. Okay. Oh, it's not that one. It's this one. Okay, great. So those are the benefits. Now, how do you get involved? Well, the most important thing is to go to our onboarding form, which is at this link. We're going to send out this entire presentation to everybody who signed up for the meeting. So you will have it, and you can go here. You might have seen the onboarding form link somewhere else on social media, etc. But wherever you find it, just go ahead and fill it out. That's the start. We also encourage you to follow us on social media. And also, please share. It really helps a lot. We're just getting started. The more sharing and more conversations that you can have with other people about this, the better. Join our Substack, which functions as our mailing list. As I said earlier, we're looking to form these working groups soon. So start thinking about what working group you want to work with. And we will we'll get that moving probably in the next month or so. Let's see. What else? Oh, here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to show you a little bit about the people who have already signed up. So we have, I believe, 25 folks have filled it out. And let me move this. Okay. So you can see here that the most people have not given us actual location, and that's probably partly our fault because we didn't make it required at the beginning. But the most people who have given their location are in Africa. We've got a strong contingent from North America and also several people from Asia. Asia is Nepal, Pakistan, and India. Africa is Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, I believe, Nigeria as well. North America is Canada and the US. And who knows for these other people? Well, let me go to the other responses. Okay, I'm not wanting to get directly to I'm wanting to get somewhere else. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, here we go. So let's just see what people are talking about. Well, this is not the best chart, but because we changed how we answered the question, but uh, it's basically saying that 3 plus 2 people, so 5 people who have answered out of the 12 responses are 25 or are younger, which means that they are eligible for one of the guaranteed 3 board members that are designated to be 25 or younger. There's only 6 board members, so this is a commitment to youth leadership. Let's see, what else? Well, people answered with multiple with this question, but how do you best describe your background? Technology, 64%, business entrepreneurship, 56%, social impact, 52%. That's not surprising to me at all. What skills or expertise can you bring? Community building, research, software development, UI, fundraising, data science. These are all important. It's great to see. Let's see. Most of the people have already worked on a technology project, either as a developer or an organizer or an advisor. Most of them, I think, were advisors. Let's see. How do you see yourself contributing, writing, community building, advocacy, outreach? Let's see. What are people excited about? What aspects would you like to focus on? Privacy and data sovereignty, free speech and censorship, AI governance and ethical design, community building and collaboration, and a number of other things. Let's see. Okay. Are there specific, no, what aspects of the meta layer do you find most exciting? We already talked a little bit about this, but it's interesting. Building decentralized communities was up there. The ability to create overlay applications, the potential for real-time collaboration above web pages, the idea of smart tags for contextual context, enhanced user privacy and control over personal data, the prospect of containing AI from malicious and damaging interactions, and the prospect of humans and agents safely interacting on browser overlays were the top ones. So anyway, gives you a sense of what we are working with in terms of the initial group. We'll come back to the slide presentation. Actually, I think we may be done with the slide presentation more or less. Yeah, we are. So anyway, you're going to get all this information that links to our WhatsApp, to our Substack, to the Meta Layer landing page. You've got the email, the LinkedIn, etc. This is all coming to you in the presentation. So at this point, I'd love to spend the next 4 or 5 minutes answering any questions that people have.
Yeah, we do have a question in the chat from Bob, and he asks, will you interact or collaborate with existing efforts like OpenID, for example, or are you hoping to stay at a higher level of philosophy of a meta layer?
We'd like to collaborate and create a substrate that allows existing aligned efforts to plug in. So in other words, rather than us creating our own proprietary strong authentication system, we're interested in doing a federated strong authentication system. And that way of thinking permeates the entire project. And this whole idea of a substrate is all about giving other people, the participants. And by the way, I don't even like calling people users. With the meta layers, it's not users, it's participants. We want all the participants to be able to create these smart tags and create overlay applications. We're not going to create them ourselves. The world's going to create them. Let's just create the substrate that allows the brilliance of the world to come about. And one of the other things about this with these smart tags and overlay applications, we want this substrate to be built such that if someone has already created something in a silo, whether it's a platform or some kind of application, they should be able to wrap it in a smart tag and expose their data and interactions anywhere on the web. Same thing with an overlay application. If you've done the work already, it's just a matter of bringing it on into this new layer, and that's what we're here to do. Are there any more
Also,
questions?
also a follow-up to the same question. To what extent is this new SIG mostly about bringing people together with shared interests?
Well, if you're talking about a shared inference of changing how we internet, how we use the web, going from something that's silos to layers, for something where you're completely isolated and fragmented for the most part, unless you're on a social media platform, which has tons and tons of fake users and exploitation and fake virality, to a place that's collaborative where people have one and only one primary ID that can affect virality and reputation boost, where you can be in a group with people who have the same purpose of you, where you can own your data. If that's the interest of completely transforming how we do the internet and building the things that need to occur to make that a reality.
Also, we do have, I guess, another question from Bob. Okay, I hope I do phrase it well. So he asks, so since everyone creates these things, it might lead to more fragmentation, and again, who hosts them? Yeah,
You said who hosts them?
yeah.
Oh, well, it's going to be decentralized. So everybody who runs a node will be partially hosting the system. And if you're, I think I heard that maybe this sounds like it could further fragment people. I do acknowledge that allowing people to create their own meta communities is, in a sense, creating another isolated silo. But the thing is, in addition to that, we're providing things like bridges and the ability to make smart tags where you can set them to be visible only to your community or to the public or to multiple communities. So there's ways to cross pollinate these these layers that may seem like silos, but because of the cross pollination, we actually are creating a possibility for both um, very deep relationships and interactions, but at the same time, a way to get the information beyond those conversations as well. And I
Yeah.
think,
So
is there another one?
yeah, we do have another question from Maxwell. He
Okay.
asks, what are the biggest current gaps in the meta layer, and which ones should we prioritize first?
I think the important thing, as Vint noted, is that we need to define what we want to build. We need to nail down what the meta layer is, and it needs to meet the criteria that we all have in our mind: decentralization, data sovereignty, et cetera. And so this initial period, we are going to compile the information that we have about the desirable properties, create this essay, and then build that initial substrate that will enable the things that this first community wants to do in the meta layer. So I feel like really understanding the requirements and building a community, a large enough community where we're getting a great representation of how people might want to use this meta layer is the most important thing. And then we move into building.
Yeah, so we do also have another question from Maxwell. It goes, on the practical part, what existing standards or frameworks could serve as a foundation for the Meta Layer interoperability?
So say that again. So what standards exist that could be the
Oh,
foundation of the interoperability?
yeah, that
DIDs, decentralized identifiers for sure. Strong authentication methods. As we said earlier, we're going to do a federated authentication, strong authentication. And that's part of what the working groups are going to do is for each of those different areas, they're going to look and see what's out there and decide what will be the best way to meet the goals of that particular area with existing technologies. And in my mind, we're more likely than not wanting to create something that will allow multiple different choice making of technologies to use. So what I mean to say is, for example, with respect to storage of data, rather than choosing one blockchain, we probably will say we believe that distributed ledger technologies, which includes blockchain, but also includes things like holochain and hashgraph. We think all of these can potentially have a place, and different people might have different preferences for which one they want to use, and they should be able to choose to store the information on the Solana blockchain or holochain or wherever they want. So there are a number of different technologies out there, and we're going to evaluate it together, I guess, is the answer to the question.
Okay, we also have another question from Maxwell. Since we have already ongoing efforts that has been made toward Meta Layer, how can new members plug in quickly and add value?
Well, we need to first and foremost get this SIG, this special interest group, accepted by ISOC. There is a vote coming up at the end of October. It's a week-long vote. There's going to be 2 informational sessions before that. I think it's really important for us to build a strong community around this before that first informational session, which is on September 15th, I believe. So 1 month from now. That would be really strong. If there are people who want to step into these working group and maybe take leadership and help form the working group, invite new people, find an initial group of people that can do a first pass for each of the groups. I think that would be really helpful as well. If there's some software developers on the call or people have software development skills, there's certainly some things that we can start working on with respect to prototyping. But the things that will make the most impact right now are building community and starting to build out the working group structure.
Okay, we do have another question from Dana, and I hope I phrase it well. So he says, Bob raises some important points for the Meta Layer desiderata, and so could you clarify whether these were already articulated in the initial efforts? Yeah.
Dana, could you tell us what you mean by desiderata?
The things that are to be desired. Sorry. Yeah. That's
Is that what that means?
yeah. Then
Oh my goodness, I need that word.
if you're of a certain age, there was a poem called Desiderata. And so the word is stuck in your head. And luckily enough, if you're younger than me, you probably have missed that. Um, there's also a National Lampoon poem called Deteriorata, but that's a different point. Yeah, Bob raises the issue of ownership and kind of a few other things, domination of the meta layer and things like that. And so the question really is, I was just scrolling through the SIG page. Is the initial definition of what is desirable on the meta layer, is that work available yet, or is that kind of gestating into the essay? And yeah, where are we in that?
Well, we actually have compiled the information and it is now available from the website. Now, I believe we're in the process of making it gamifiable, meaning that people will soon be able to comment and upvote things with respect to the different submissions and how they relate to the different desirable properties. So I'm going to put a link in here that takes you to all the desirable properties that we've identified so far. And it will also allow you to look at how we're categorizing them and even look at the submissions that have been related to them. So that's the existing body. Now, I want to just make it clear that the sign up button isn't working right now. It was working. I decided to change the platform and now it's acting a little wonky, but I'm in the process of fixing it. So don't click the sign up button today. Hopefully I'll have it working tomorrow. Desirable. Okay, actually this is it. There it is. So that link should take you to the existing body of work that's been done so far. And you can see that there's 21 desirable properties, 47 submissions, 6 project categories, 293 alignments of elements of submissions to desirable properties, 59 clarifications of based on the submissions of specific desirable property elements, and 90 extensions. So we've got a fair amount in place now, and oh wow, I'm still working on this. Give me 2 days. Give me 2 days on this, and it'll be more functional than it is right now. But you can at least see the information. Actually, yeah. So click through when you have a chance and take a look. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, we do have another question from Bob. So more specifically that Dana what mentioned. So where is the information about the risks of the meta layer and ideas for addressing them?
Yeah, I think this is going to be an emergent thing. A lot of what we've done has been focused on how we can reduce the risks of today's web. Now, obviously, anytime we build anything, people are going to try to game them and take advantage. So we've kept that in mind. That doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but we don't really see this as build it once and it's done, but more something that's going to evolve over time. So I think, Bob, as you look to see what we already have in place, like for example, that everybody only has one primary account that can affect virality and reputation boost, things like that, those are put in place to minimize the risk. Now, that doesn't mean that there will be no risk, because obviously anytime you got humans, there's going to be risks, right? So that's something that I think that the working groups are going to be taking on as they go through and define the desirable properties. We're looking for them to really take leadership and and be very thoughtful and go to an analysis of sufficient depth such that we can bring the risks down as low as they can be. There's always going to be trade-offs, right? It's not always best to try to get to be perfect because you end up constraining yourself too much. So there's going to be this trade-off, and we're going to have to work with it, and we're also going to have to see how things go and evolve, and evolve as things go. Oh, I meant more about bio. Go ahead, Michelle, you want to read that new one?
Okay, let me read it. I meant more billionaire oligarchs and neoliberalism that will cause many of these things to become just more ways of making money. But it sounds like you are delegating that type of critical thinking to your groups, which I would love to be part of when you are signing up form works again. Yeah.
Oh, the sign up form works now. The only thing that isn't working is our web app sign up doesn't work at the moment because I'm still in process. So I want to address that. How do we do that? Well, there's no billionaire oligarchs in this room right now, right? And we're not looking to get funded by some kind of entity that's going to tell us what they think the desirable properties are and strip out all the things that make for a platform that does not allow exploitation or data sovereignty or any basically the way we're going about this is through the community, grassroots. We're defining this thing, and we're gonna build it without billionaires, basically. And it makes it more difficult, right? I mean, we could have went to Microsoft or some of these other oligarchs, as you say, and tried to convince them to do this. Now, I can tell you, they wouldn't want to do it exactly the way we're talking about, because we're talking about it being decentralized. I don't see them investing that type of money in a decentralized solution that has the potential to limit their power, because they're not gonna be the ones that are powerful in this meta layer. It's gonna be the people. It's gonna be the participants. So I think it's the way we do it is the approach where we're focusing on community first and doing what the community wants to do, as opposed to looking for some kind of big daddy to come and fund this whole thing and end up having way too much influence, and all of a sudden it's no longer decentralized and it's got centralization aspects that none of us really want. Now, I'm not against people making money in the meta layer. And in fact, I think it's very important that people be able to make money. But the way we're going about it, it's not going to be this opportunity for VCs to come in and make a 1,000x return. We're not looking for that type of relationship or perpetuating that type of relationship. Any more questions?
I don't think so. We have any more questions. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we're a little bit past time. I really appreciate you all spending the extra 15 minutes to give us these excellent questions. And I'm hoping to see you all on the onboarding forum at some point. We will set up a meeting for the actual people who are joining the SIG shortly. We will have that meeting before the end of the month when we need to turn in the application. We're also looking to fill positions, several more positions of board members. I think we have one more youth seat and then two other seats that could be youth or not. So let's convene. let us know what you're interested in. Join us on WhatsApp. Contact Michelle if you're interested in taking a leadership role, either as a board member or a regional leader or a working group. You can also talk to me about working groups as well. So let's start having the conversation to build this foundation. Anyone want to say anything? I'm going to just open up the mic. Anyone want to just have any parting thoughts before we go?
Yeah, I just wanted to vocally say sorry for all my comments and all that kind of stuff. I'm just very excited about this, and so I'm glad that you held this today. So thank you. And I'm just super skeptical, and that's how I do problem solving. So I'm looking forward to see where this goes.
Well, Bob, thank you for your questions. I mean,
Not
we
like there's
need
any
them, right?
reason to be skeptical about the internet. Yeah.
Bring your skepticism to that working group so that we can make it as good as it can be. They say steel sharpens steel, right? Anyone else? Okay, folks. Well, thank you so much. Michelle, did you want to say anything in parting or?
Not really. I've just shared my email in the chat in case of anything.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all. Really appreciate you. Excited to see some or all of you in the next meeting for the SIG, which will be before the end of the month. You can find out when that is on the WhatsApp announcements list. I think all of you have access to that or know about it. And if not, send an email to Michelle and we'll go from there. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your Saturday.
Thank you, everyone.